Today is another one of our Legacy Leader Spotlights, where we're going to be sharing one of our very own member success stories. And we've got a really good one planned here for you today. So I'd like to welcome Tina Waltersdorf for joining us. Tina, thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much. It's a privilege and honor.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to getting a chance to chat with you. And I really want to have you share some of the successes that you've been seeing since you've been a member, and talk to people a little bit about what you've done, and maybe hopefully give them some advice of how they can best use the program and what you've learned. But before we get into that, I want to just really briefly, for those of you that are new members, we do one of these spotlights at least once per month. And I think from my perspective, they're very important because I think it's critical that you understand that the stuff that we're teaching you actually works if you use it. And so we've got a lot of people that have been doing some incredible things, and Tina is one of them. So we love to have them share their stories to give them recognition, but also so that you can learn and be inspired as well. And so Tina has been a member for about a year, just over a year, for the Legacy Leadership Academy. And here's a little bit of background on kind of where she is, and then we'll have her share and add to that whatever she feels is important. But this is a big month for her. She's pushing for a big rank advancement. And as a matter of fact, it will potentially be her third rank advancement since she's joined our program a year ago.
Yeah.
Since she's joined, she's seeing a ton of duplication. A lot of that is due to the fact that she has implemented what she's learned. She's implemented the accountability call strategy, a couple of other strategies, some systems. And what she's starting to see is her team is ranking up. People are winning prizes and trips. And since she's joined, I think this is the most impressive thing, her business has grown by 225%. So Tina, that's pretty awesome. Anything else that you feel like you'd want to add there that I missed?
We are definitely on the incline, and it's really cool to see your business on the chart. You know, you see it sometimes level out, sometimes you see it go down. That's just normal business. It's been very exciting to see it climbing.
Yeah.
But I can definitely say that before I joined, I was following you on my virtual upline, for about a year. Yep. And that was super helpful. I felt like, though, I needed just that extra push to become the leader that I really, really want to be. I mean, because you can look at yourself and know that, I'm lacking in this, and this. Like, I need help to do that. And so I see this as my business and my career. It's, something I'm going to do. It's what God put me here to do. Yeah. And so in order to do that, you have to invest in yourself and get the training. And I just felt like you're the guy that has the tools that I need. And I have changed so much in the past year. I mean, people on my team, my family have said to me, you're not even the same person you were a year ago. Wow. And they could see that change in me, growing as a leader, as a mom, as a wife, like everything. Wow. But I would say like a year ago, when I was looking at my team, and I do this a lot, evaluate, like, where's my team at? Where are the holes? What's lacking, right? And so you find out what's lacking and you want to fix it. And when I joined with you, one of the things that I knew was we were having a lot of fall off. People were adding people, but the fall off was almost happening more than anything. And you did a class on onboarding, and the 2730, I think, was like one of the first things I did. And you had talked about coaching, and maybe I twisted it in a little bit different way, where when you have someone starting products, is there enough support there? And there really wasn't, and that's why people were quitting. And so I started taking my leaders and teaching them these things. And you had said something about when you are onboarding someone, and in this case it was on products, okay, showing them how to take them, helping them get success on the product. And then duplicating that though. So when that person gets somebody new and they're not real experienced in coaching on products, having that three-way chat going so that you can teach them how to do that and then just keep duplicating that down. And then when it switches and they are in that place where they feel like leading that, you're still in that chat supporting them, but making sure that you're giving them that support. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it totally does. Well, let's come back to that. I would love to have you share some advice on like things that you did with onboarding. But so if I'm hearing you correctly, your biggest issue coming into the program was that you weren't seeing duplication and you were having trouble retaining people, right? People were not sticking around. And
exactly.
So, I know that that's obviously a challenge for a lot of people that are here. You're in, your team, you work hard to bring people in, but it's almost like we use the analogy of like a leaky bucket. If the bucket represents your team and you've got holes in the bottom of the bucket and you can work really hard pouring the water into the bucket. But if you don't ever identify that there are holes, you're going to be on that treadmill, never making any progress. And so it sounds to me like when you joined, what you realized, one of the things that you were lacking was the proper system for onboarding new people. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Did you have a system, or or was it just kind of like, talk to me a little bit about what you had in place when you joined?
I think the part that was missing was that I was doing it with people, helping them start products. The missing piece was when they start the products and then that person then adds somebody, that's where it fell off. And you had said, make sure you're in the chat with that leader, new person that is now got a new person, and make sure you're helping them do that. And so that you're seeing that it's being duplicated.
Got it. So you didn't have proper system or training in place. Really what it sounds like is to teach people how to begin to grow their team. Is that correct?
It's like I was doing it with them, but then once they were adding people, I wasn't in there with them, seeing them doing it. I couldn't see it. So it's kind of like they were on their own, but then I discovered that they weren't doing it.
Okay. So you were kind of pushing people off on their own too early.
Right. I wasn't in that chat with them, helping them help their new person. That has changed. That's completely switched, and that made a huge difference. And everybody doing it is the key. So that's a leadership thing, right? So that's what you realized is that because this is a really big mistake a lot of leaders make, is they only spend time working with their direct sponsors and they push people off on their own too early. And they, one of the core, like if you're new to the program, when we start talking about team building strategies, one of the things you're going to learn is we teach you how to work through people, not with people. This is a really critical distinction. If you're working with somebody, it means you're only working with them. And if they bring someone in, you just expect them to train and teach that person. If somebody comes in on your third level, you're not working in depth in your team. And what you realized is that was a mistake. Yes.
Because if we push people off on their own too early before they're ready, duplication will always break down because they're not equipped to be able to create those same results.
Absolutely.
So what that means is, as a leader, we learn that sometimes we got to be willing to roll up our sleeves and do the hard work for other people until they can get to the point where they can do it themselves. So that meant that you had to start training your front lines recruits just as if they were your own recruit.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, for some of them that have been doing it for a while, it was a little push-pull going on there a little bit, like, wait, now you want to be in this chat with me so that you see that I'm doing it. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
But we're going to help each other and we're going to grow. And once they embraced that, and it was only a couple of them, but once they embraced that, it went really, really well.
Yeah. Well, they embrace it when they see the results.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when they actually see it work and they're like, okay, this might not be as bad as I thought it was. So here's what we used to call that, Tina. We used to call that inspect what you expect.
That's exactly right.
Right? Like we expect
Yeah.
like they'll just be able to do it. Yeah, but have you inspected that? Right? Meaning
That is exactly what you said back then. And that is where it all switched. Yeah.
So there's such a valuable lesson here from a team building perspective. And this is what I would want to challenge anybody that's watching this to think about. Are you working through people, or are you just working with people when you bring them into their business? Because anytime you sponsor a new consultant, bring a new person onto your team, you've got to really have a sense of urgency that my goal always was this. If I recruited Tina today, I would make it a goal to try to drive her business at least 3 generations or 3 levels deep as quickly as possible. So what that meant is I wanted to help Tina sponsor somebody, and then I wanted her person to sponsor somebody so that I already had duplication happening. And because I knew if I could even start to see the slowest signs of duplication, that would be the thing that would get you excited. And that would also be the thing that would keep you from quitting.
Totally.
Because it's hard to admit it doesn't work when you actually physically see it working. Now, here's the key, though. It's your job. It's my job as a leader to create that. Mm-hmm. So that was the thing that you learned that it sounds like really changed everything for you.
And I will add to that, there's one thing for product results, right? And then there's another part of onboarding where, like you're talking about, getting them a result with a team member or 3 team members and getting them those bonuses. And so right now where my team is at, last month, just evaluating things, I'm like, okay, well, this is where we're lacking now. We are lacking in, we have X amount of members that have joined. Why are they not rank advancing, right? Mm-hmm. So I had a team call with my leaders last week, and we talked about this, like, well, you guys are pros at helping people get results on products. That's great. But now this is a hole in the team where we need to work on getting them results and helping them get those bonuses. And I mean, because right now there's a lot of bonuses for when they rank up. And so I'm really trying to focus on that part of it now, because that's another part of onboarding.
Yeah. So what you realized is that it sounds like you did have an onboarding system. It was mostly focused on customer acquisition, which is fine, because I do think that that's the place that you want most people to start with. But you began to realize that there was a missing piece, which was a system to teach people how to create a result in terms of building a team.
We need to be stronger in that, stronger in that, the first 2 days, the first, the 7 days, and that first month, getting them that result and things to do. So the leaders are implementing that, and it's going really, really well. So I'm excited to just see the harvest of that too.
Yeah. So part of that was strategy, but the other part, equal part as important, was the mindset around that, right? Mm-hmm. It's instilling that sense of urgency. And it also sounds to me like what you did is you took on a much more hands-on approach to leadership.
Mm-hmm. And
like you said, to duplicate.
Yeah. And getting in there. And like you said, rolling your sleeves up. And it's, back a year ago, it was a lot for me to roll my sleeves up and get in there and do all of that. But it was so worth it.
Yeah.
So worth it.
Talk to me about the very beginning stages when you started to do that. Why did you find it difficult in the beginning?
Why was it difficult to, well, I wouldn't say it was difficult. It was exciting, but it was working with a lot of people all at one time. Because I did have that sense of urgency. Like, we're having this fall off. I feel like I'm going, 10 steps forward and 20 steps back. And it was just like this constant. And so there were a lot of people to work with all at one time, because we'd added a lot of people in that last couple months, where I decided we need to do this.
Yep.
So, but it was so worth it. And then once I did that with them, they then were strong enough to keep doing it. And I saw that they were doing it, like you said,
Yeah. Well, that behavior began to duplicate in your team, right? Because people do what they see you do. They don't do what they hear you say. So I guess what I'm asking is, once you learn that, okay, I haven't been doing this, now I know that I have, was it like a switch flipped and you just started doing it without any fear or issues? And you just, or were there any things, did you have to deal with any like mindset issues, or did you have to, it sounds like you had a little bit of pushback from a couple of people on your team that were like, hey, what's up? Why are you working with my people? Like, did you have, were there any, just the early stages, were there any little challenges or things that you had to get over, little speed bumps?
Yeah, I mean, some of them that had been doing it, or well, they weren't doing it, were kind of like, yeah, why are you doing this now? But when I really explained to them, like, this is going to make your team stronger, when I made it about them, you know, making it about them, and then a lot of vision casting with them. Imagine your team being at this place by next summer, you know, and it's going to take a little bit of time. We're going to do this together. Yeah, there was a little bit of push-pull, but not a lot. I mean, and then some of them were so new that they were like, yes, please help me.
Yeah.
They were, you know, kind of embraced it. But
well, I love that, because you did. So, I mean, that's so important for people to understand. You're, you know, anytime you start to take more of an active hands-on role in terms of building your team and working through people, there will be some people that will take that in a negative way, because they're operating from a place of fear and scarcity. They'll take that as meaning like, well, does that mean I'm not good enough, or I can't do it? So I think what's really important for people to understand is you need to approach it the way that you did, where you made it very clear that it wasn't a negative, it wasn't speaking negatively to their business, to their ability. It's like, you just wanted to make them go faster, right? I love the idea how you painted the vision. Imagine if we can get your team going faster. What's that going to mean for you? Where could you possibly be? So why you were effective is because you made it about them, and you made it really clear to them. You acknowledge the fact that they, you know, there may be that thought that, does this mean I'm not good enough? You squelched that in the beginning.
Yeah.
Did you have anybody on your team at all that just wasn't receptive to it, that you just kind of stopped?
No.
Okay.
No. Cool. And you know what? Because when I approached it too with some of my leaders, I said, you know, my husband and I were talking about where are the holes in the team as a whole, you know, and this is what I'm feeling. What are you feeling about, you know, your team? Do you feel like that's a problem? Do you feel like that's lacking? And kind of pointing that out to where, yeah, there's more fall off going on than people sticking with it. So yeah, once they saw that too, it's like, yeah, let's fix this.
So talk to me about, how has this shift in philosophy, has it made a difference in terms of the quality and the amount of leaders that you have on your team today compared to what you had before?
I really, really believe it's been game changer. I feel like they are also more receptive, or is that the word, receptive?
Yeah, I think so.
To things that I do present to them or see. They know that I'm not going to do it, or I'm not going to ask for it unless I know that it's going to work either. Or if I've done it myself, I'm going to present it to them. But
do you have more leaders today than you did before?
Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah. It's happening. I felt like I was really, a year ago, I kind of felt like I was alone. I felt like I was just doing it all by myself, and I didn't really have, you know, it's like, well, how long can you just do this by yourself?
Stronger,
so there's a lot
more independent leaders today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how has that helped you? What is your life like today compared to how it was a year ago when you were having to do it all on your own?
A year ago, it was frustrating. It was tiring, and exhausting, really. Now I feel like I get excited. And one thing that you said one time when you said, this was a while back too, but if you're going to change something, give it 6 months. And I always had that in my head. So if I'm going to start an accountability call and there's only 2 people in it, those are the 2 people. You always said, those are the 2 people you're going to work with then. Okay. Yeah. I'm like, all right, Bob, that's it. And there were times or you know, power hours. If there's 2 people that show up, then great. There's the 2 people that show up. But you said, give these things 6 months, dedicate 6 months to it. And I have, like, that's been really key for me too, because there were times when I would do a power hour or an accountability call. I'd be like, I'm just wasting my time. I feel like nobody's getting on, or they're just being really lax about it and not showing up. And you really helped me kind of step up on those calls and say, here's kind of the ground rules, and you need to show up to these, and this is why. And I've given it more than 6 months now. And now I've got lots of people getting on the accountability calls, and they're growing. And for me, that's really exciting to be working with people on my team that have goals, and they bring this good energy that energizes me and excites me and it makes me want to be better.
Yeah. So it sounds to me like you're loving your business more, you're having fun, and you've actually got more time freedom to enjoy all of your hard work.
Yeah, I would say one thing that I struggle with is managing my time. This week I put in my day planner, all right, I'm time blocking, and my husband helps me do this because he sees me not put my phone down. So the missions this week.
Well, good for you. That was good for you. That's this month's mission.
I know. It's like, well, thank you, God, for telling me.
Awesome. How's that? How far through the mission are you?
I'm through the second one.
Okay. How's it helped so far?
It has been, mission 1 was very eye-opening for me. It kind of was a little bit heartbreaking, actually, because I realized I am not putting my family first, and I'm not putting that phone away at times when I need to be disconnected. So I feel like that's where I'm kind of struggling right now is, and I don't wear a busy badge. I don't want the busy badge. Somebody else can have that. I think I just feel like, I don't know if it's, I don't know. I'm having a hard time even time blocking my time the other day like I did and actually sticking to it. My husband Terry's like, so how did that go? I didn't stick to the schedule.
Yeah. So then what did that make you think or feel? The fact that you didn't stick to the schedule?
Well, I kind of felt like a failure, I felt like, okay, does time blocking not work for me? What's going to work for me? Does it work better for me to just have like a list of tasks that I need to get done that day? Yeah. And then go out of my office and shut the door? So I'm kind of at that point right now where I am trying to find, I guess, just to be disciplined within myself and unplug when I need to unplug.
Yeah. So let me give you some advice here.
Yes, please.
You can't learn how to manage time. It's impossible.
Okay, so I shouldn't have that as a goal to be an expert in time management.
You need to get better at managing yourself in relation to time.
Okay.
We can't manage time. It's impossible. But what we can learn how to do is we can learn how to become less lazy in our planning and our thinking in relation to time. Anybody I know that's bad with time management, if they're honest, are bad planners, and they're very lazy in their thinking. And let me explain to you what I mean, because you're falling into this trap right now. So you set a plan, you blocked out time for the day, you tried to execute that plan, and it didn't go the way you wanted it to.
Right.
And you interpreted that as meaning that you're a failure.
A little bit.
That's what you said.
Bit, yeah.
I felt like a failure. So when your thought is that you failed, that you're a failure, how's that make you feel?
Like if I can't stick to a schedule.
Yeah, like if you're telling yourself I failed, how do you feel when you say that?
Not very good at all.
Yeah.
Not equipped.
Yeah. So you feel maybe not good enough. Maybe a little discouraged.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, so why can't I just stick to the schedule? I made the schedule. I took time to do it. Why can't I just do it?
Yeah. So if you think you're a failure and you're feeling discouraged and not good enough, how do you think that that's going to affect you showing up the next day to give yourself a better chance to execute it successfully? You ever carry that over? Did you carry that over into today, that feeling from yesterday?
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
I feel a little bit more determined, like I need to do this. I need to prove to myself that I can do this.
Yeah. So your ability to do it, Tina, is going to start with your thoughts about whether you do or don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
See, here's the whole idea about scheduling time. It's not a matter of if you're going to fail, it's when. You probably, listen, you'll be lucky if you ever in your life in a single day execute your plan exactly as it is.
Exactly. And I think
I make a plan. I make a plan every day.
Yeah.
And I fail at that plan every day. Sometimes I fail worse than others.
Yeah.
But what I've learned to do is I never consider myself a failure.
So maybe I put too much pressure on myself of sticking to that, schedule.
You've got to give yourself permission to not do it, to fail, but not have that mean anything negative about you.
Right.
Because you're learning and developing a new habit and skill.
Totally.
And there's going to be a process. So, so what you have to learn how to do is you have to learn how to set a plan, do your best to execute it. And if you don't hit it, give yourself a little bit of love and compassion and say, you know what? I did my best. Tomorrow I'll try to do a better job.
Yeah.
Because it's your thoughts that are going to determine how you show up. And the challenge that most people have anytime they're trying to develop a new habit or skill is they start with enthusiasm or excitement. It doesn't go the way they want it to pretty early on. And they view that as the fact that they're failing or that they're a failure, and their negative thoughts kick in and it knocks them off track.
Totally. So that's what I experienced this week. Yep.
Yep. So you've got to be able to show yourself a little bit of grace and compassion here and understand that it's going to take you some time, and you probably won't ever be perfect. But the good news is this: you don't have to be perfect. I can promise you from experience.
Yeah.
The simple act of going through this process each week and doing your best to execute it, the simple act alone will 10x your productivity over time.
Yeah.
So you have to constantly be reminding yourself of that.
Right. I need to give myself grace.
Yeah.
It's just I was super excited. I had that schedule just down every hour.
Yeah. So you have to let go of, for you, it's probably a little bit of needing to let go of control.
Yeah.
And needing to let go of this idea that it's got to be perfect in order for it to be right. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't have to be that way.
Very true. Yeah.
So that'll be, this is the whole idea with these missions is we're introducing core skills and habits that you need in order to be successful. And it does take time for you to build them, but you just have to be willing to continue to push through and take the action and allow yourself to fail and not have that mean that you're a failure. It just is an opportunity for you to learn and grow and get better.
Right. Just like anything else that I've done in your program, giving it time.
Yep.
And then that time, keep doing it, and that harvest comes. Every single time that I've done anything that you've taught, it happens.
Yeah. So just the same advice that you just gave to everybody else about giving it time. Yeah. Make sure you're giving yourself that advice when it comes to something like this.
Yep.
Isn't that the challenge? Sometimes we're really good at giving advice to other people, but sometimes it's a little hard to take it ourselves. So
I can easily pull somebody else out of a rut and negative thinking, negative mindset. And then when it comes to myself, talking to my husband, and he can kind of help me work through some different things. We all need somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
So
that needs to be your conversation that you have with yourself at the beginning of every day.
Yeah.
Tina, I'm going to do my very best. And whatever it winds up being, that's going to be good enough for right now. And you're going to get better as you go. And you have to just continue to tell yourself that.
Right. So, and I need to unplug. I have to learn how to unplug. And I'm excited that this mission came at this time, because it just happens to be the thing that I'm really, really working on. So
cool. Well, that's a nice little sales pitch for the mission. So if you haven't had a chance to get into the mission for this month, which is it's titled How to Achieve More by Doing Less, which is a very important thing for you to understand. Make sure you check that out. So, well, Tina, listen, thank you so much for being here. This was really, really awesome. I'm so excited to hear about all your success. And I want to really thank you for being a part of our community and being such an an active, valued member. Thanks for all that you do.
I absolutely love it here. I feel like I've made new friends. The environment and the community for me has just been exactly what I need. The support, the cheering each other on. Your teachings have completely transformed me, and they continue to transform me. We're always constantly growing.
Yeah.
So I just thank you for having me on, and thank you for all that you do. So
awesome.
Appreciated.
Well, you're welcome. All right, Tina, thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you later, everybody. Take care.